Dr. Alan Hayes stared at the computer screen, his eyes wide with disbelief. The signal patterns pulsed across his monitor, too regular to be random, too complex to be anything but artificial. After 20 years of searching the stars for signs of intelligent life, he had finally found it. "Sam, you need to see this," he called to Lieutenant Samantha Miller, who was reviewing data at a nearby workstation. The young Space Force officer walked over, her boots clicking against the polished floor of Nevada's deep space communication array. She leaned over his shoulder, her brow furrowing as she studied the screen. "Is that what I think it is?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Alan nodded slowly. "It's a message from somewhere near the Tau Ceti system." He ran a hand through his graying hair. "We're not alone anymore." Within hours, the facility buzzed with activity. Government officials arrived by helicopter. Military personnel secured the perimeter. The year was 2157, and humanity had just made first contact. For 3 days, Alan and Sam worked with linguists and code breakers to decipher the alien transmission. When they finally succeeded, the initial excitement vanished like morning dew under a harsh sun. "This can't be right," Sam said, rechecking their translation. Alan's face had grown pale. "Run it again." But the results remained the same. The message was clear. To the inhabitants of the third planet, your development has been monitored. Your resources and location are valuable. Prepare your surrender. Resistance will result in extinction. We arrive within 1 solar orbit. News of the message spread across Earth like wildfire. Panic followed. Some religious groups declared the end times. Others dismissed the threat as a hoax. But satellite arrays across the planet confirmed the signal's extraterrestrial origin. In an emergency session, the United Nations voted to form the Global Defense Initiative. For the first time in human history, all nations agreed to combine their military forces under a single command. "We need someone who thinks outside the box," said the UN Secretary General during a private meeting. "Someone who can make impossible decisions." That someone was Commander Jack Warren, a man whose unorthodox tactics had saved lives in the water wars of the 2140s. At 52, he had hoped to retire soon. Instead, he found himself in charge of Earth's defense. "I won't sugarcoat this," Jack told the assembled world leaders during his first briefing. "We're outmatched technologically, but humanity has faced long odds before." As Jack built Earth's defensive strategy, Dr. Olivia Reyes worked tirelessly in her lab at the GDI's research facility. At 39, she had already revolutionized energy weapon design. Now she faced her greatest challenge, finding a way to fight an enemy whose technology was likely centuries beyond Earth's. "The laws of physics apply to everyone," she told her team during late-night sessions. "Even aliens have to follow them. We just need to find their weakness." 6 months after the message, the first alien ships appeared in Earth's orbit. They were massive, shaped like arrowheads, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent material that seemed to shift colors as they moved. A smaller vessel descended toward the UN headquarters in New York. Inside the General Assembly Hall, representatives from every nation waited anxiously. Jack and Olivia stood near the back, observing carefully. The alien that emerged from the craft was not what anyone expected. Standing nearly 8 feet tall, it resembled a giant insect with multiple limbs and compound eyes. Its exoskeleton clicked as it moved. "I am Vexthor, emissary of the Zarelian Empire," it announced through a translation device. Its voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "We have claimed thousands of worlds across the stars. Yours will be next." The UN Secretary General stepped forward. "We wish to negotiate peaceful—" "There will be no negotiation," Vexthor interrupted. "Only submission. You have 48 hours to surrender your governments and military assets. After that, we will take what we want by force." As the alien departed, Jack approached Olivia. "How much progress have you made with the defensive systems?" "Some," she replied, her dark eyes reflecting determination. "But we need more time." "Time is something we don't have," Jack said grimly. "For the next 2 days, Earth prepared for war. Civilians were evacuated from major cities. Military forces mobilized globally. Olivia's team worked without sleep, installing hastily designed energy shields around key facilities. When the deadline passed without Earth's surrender, the Zarelian fleet launched their attack. Energy beams sliced through buildings in Tokyo, London, and Cairo. Smaller craft descended to deploy ground forces, biomechanical soldiers that moved with terrifying speed. But humanity was not helpless. Jack had prepared a surprise of his own. "Launch Operation Thunderstrike," he ordered from the GDI command center buried beneath the Rocky Mountains. Across Earth, hidden missile installations activated. Not the nuclear weapons of old, but new. Projectiles designed by Olivia, equipped with phase-shifting technology that could bypass alien shields. The first volley caught the Zarelians off guard. 3 of their smaller ships exploded in orbit, raining debris into the ocean. On the ground, human soldiers found that while alien armor was nearly impenetrable to bullets, it conducted electricity extremely well. Makeshift tasers became the weapon of choice for close combat. "They weren't expecting us to fight back effectively," Jack noted as he watched battlefield reports come in. "They're used to easy conquests." Olivia nodded. "Their technology is advanced, but their tactics are rigid. They don't adapt quickly." By the end of the first day of fighting, humanity had suffered heavy losses. New York, Beijing, and Moscow lay partially in ruins. Millions were dead or missing. But the aliens had not achieved the quick victory they expected. In orbit, the Zarelian commander signaled Vexthor. "The natives are more resourceful than anticipated. Request permission to deploy bioweapons." "Denied," Vexthor replied. "The Emperor wants this planet's biosphere intact. Intensify conventional attacks they cannot resist forever." What the aliens didn't know was that Jack had positioned his best troops for a counterattack. As night fell over North America, stealth aircraft approached the largest Zarelian ground base established outside Denver. "Remember," Jack told the strike team over the secure channel, "we need prisoners and intact technology. This is how we level the playing field." The raid was costly but successful. By dawn, humans had captured a Zarelian shuttle and 2 living aliens. Olivia personally oversaw their transport to her research facility. "This is just the beginning," she told Jack as they watched the alien craft being unloaded. "They told us to kneel. Instead, we'll show them what humanity does to bullies." Jack's weathered face showed a grim smile. "They have no idea who they're dealing with." As the sun rose on the second day of Earth's first interstellar war, humanity stood bloodied but unbowed. The Zarelians had expected submission. What they got instead was a fight that would soon take them by surprise, because humans had something worth fighting for: their home. 6 months passed since the first Zarelian attack. Earth was wounded but still fighting. Major cities lay in ruins. Millions of people lived in underground shelters. But humanity refused to surrender. The aliens had established bases across the globe. Their tall metal structures dominated the skylines of conquered territories. From these fortresses, they sent out patrols to hunt down human resistance fighters. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility known only as the Bunker, Dr. Olivia Reyes worked day and night. Her laboratory was filled with parts salvaged from downed alien ships. Dark circles marked her eyes from lack of sleep, but determination kept her going. "I think I've got it," she said, connecting 2 wires on a device that glowed with blue light. The shield generator hummed to life, creating an invisible barrier around her workstation. Commander Jack Warren entered the lab, his uniform worn and patched. The war had aged him. New lines creased his face, and gray streaked his once brown hair. "Tell me that's good news," he said, nodding toward her invention. Olivia smiled for the first time in weeks. "I've reversed-engineered their shield technology. It's not perfect, but it works." Jack allowed himself a rare moment of hope. That could change everything. In another section of the bunker, Dr. Alan Hayes studied communications intercepted from the Zarelian fleet. Lieutenant Samantha Miller sat beside him, helping to translate the alien language they now partially understood. "They're bringing in reinforcements," Sam said, pointing to a coded message on her screen. A second fleet even bigger than the first. Alan rubbed his tired eyes. We need to find a weakness. Something, anything we can use against them. In the military wing, Captain Daniel Wright led training exercises for new recruits. Once a Navy SEAL, Daniel now commanded Special Forces for the Global Defense Initiative. He was tough but fair, pushing his soldiers to their limits because he knew what they would face outside. They're faster than you, he told a group of exhausted recruits. They're stronger than you, but they're not smarter than you. Use your head and you might stay alive. Working alongside Daniel was Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez, formerly with military intelligence. Her expertise in computer systems had proven valuable in the war. She could hack into Xerelian communications better than anyone else. I've been studying their patrol patterns, Maria told Daniel after training. There's a weakness in their security at the Denver base. I think we could get in. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Get in and do what? Their command ship is directly above Denver. If we could access their navigation systems, we might learn where they came from. Maybe even their battle plans. Word of the potential mission reached Jack Warren quickly. The commander called a meeting with his top people. Olivia, Alan, Sam, Daniel, and Maria. This is high risk, Jack said, studying the maps Maria had prepared. But high reward. We need that information. Olivia placed a small device on the table. I've modified the shield technology into portable units. They should hide you from their sensors for about 30 minutes. That's our window then, Daniel said. 3 nights later, a small team led by Daniel and Maria approached the Denver base. They wore the new shield devices Olivia had created. The night was clear and cold, stars visible above the alien structures that now dominated the city. Remember 30 minutes, Daniel whispered to his team. In and out. Using the patrol schedule Maria had decoded, they slipped past Xerelian guards. The aliens were tall and insect-like, with multiple arms and glowing eyes that swiveled independently. Their chittering language echoed through the halls of the base. Maria led them to a terminal room. While Daniel and the others stood guard, she connected her device to the alien computer system. Come on, she muttered, watching symbols flash across her screen. Just a few more seconds. An alarm suddenly blared through the facility. Their shield devices flickered and failed. We've been detected, Daniel shouted. Maria, we need to move. Almost there, she replied, fingers flying over her device. Got it. I have their navigation data. The team fled, fighting their way through alien security forces. They were nearly at the exit when a Xerelian patrol cut them off. In the ensuing firefight, Daniel was separated from the others. Go, he yelled to Maria. Get that data back to base. Maria hesitated, but knew the mission came first. She led the remaining team members to safety while Daniel provided covering fire. The last she saw of him, he was surrounded by Xerelians. Back at the bunker, Maria delivered the stolen data to a grieving team. Daniel's loss hit them hard, but his sacrifice had not been in vain. Alan and Sam worked frantically to decode the navigation information. What they discovered shocked everyone. Earth isn't their first target, Alan explained, showing a star map to Jack and the others. They've conquered 17 other worlds before us. It's a pattern. They move through the galaxy systematically. Sam pointed to images they'd extracted. These are other species, all enslaved or exterminated by the Xerelians. While they processed this disturbing news, Olivia made another breakthrough. Studying tissue samples from captured aliens, she discovered something important. Their biology is silicon-based, not carbon like ours, she explained to Jack, and they're extremely sensitive to a specific frequency of electromagnetic radiation. It disrupts their nervous system. Jack understood immediately. Can we weaponize it? Olivia nodded. I already have ideas. Meanwhile, Daniel Wright was not dead. He had been captured and brought aboard the Xerelian command ship. In a cell designed for alien prisoners, he endured painful questioning. Why? Do you resist? The Xerelian interrogator asked. All other species submitted eventually. It is inevitable. Daniel spat blood onto the floor. You clearly don't understand humans. During his captivity, Daniel learned more about their enemies. The Xerelians were a hive-minded species. They believed it was their right to rule the galaxy. Their society had no concept of freedom or individual choice. 2 weeks after Daniel's capture, Maria led a rescue mission. Using Olivia's improved shield technology and the knowledge of Xerelian ship layouts from the stolen data, they boarded the command vessel. They found Daniel in the prison section, along with other human captives. Despite weeks of torture, his spirit remained unbroken. "Took you long enough," he said weakly as Maria cut through his restraints. "Had to make a plan first," she replied with a smile of relief. "Let's get you home." As they escaped, Maria made a detour to the ship's central computer core. Using codes she had developed, she downloaded the complete Xerelian battle plans and, most importantly, the location of their home world. When they returned to the bunker, their success brought new hope. Earth had been fighting defensively for too long. Now, with knowledge of the enemy's plans and a weapon that could hurt them, humanity could finally fight back. "We're taking this war to them," Jack told his team as they gathered around a table displaying the alien star charts. "They came to our world demanding we kneel. Now we'll show them exactly what humanity does when backed into a corner." Daniel, still recovering from his ordeal, nodded in agreement. They have no idea what's coming. 1 year had passed since the Xerelians first demanded humanity's surrender. In that time, Earth had changed from victim to fighter. Using technology salvaged from downed alien ships, humans had begun to close the technological gap. In a massive, underground hangar, hundreds of workers swarmed around humanity's greatest achievement, the UES Defiance. The ship gleamed under bright lights, its hull built with a combination of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien metals. Commander Jack Warren stood on an observation platform, watching the final preparations. At his side, Dr. Alan Hayes studied readings on a tablet. "Is she ready?" Jack asked, his voice low. Alan nodded. "The FTL drive works. We've tested it 3 times. It's not as fast as theirs, but it will get us where we need to go." Dr. Olivia Reyes approached them, carrying a metal case. Dark circles still ringed her eyes, but they now shone with triumph rather than exhaustion. "The Sunfire weapon is ready," she said, patting the case. "I've made 5 of them. Each one emits the electromagnetic frequency that disrupts their nervous systems. Range is limited, but they'll work." Jack took a deep breath. Then it's time. Later that day, he addressed the crew selected for the Defiance's first mission. Captain Daniel Wright, now recovered from his captivity, would lead the ship's Marine unit. Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez would serve as Jack's second in command. "You all know what's at stake," Jack told them. "The Xerelians think we're just fighting for survival. They're wrong. We're fighting for every species they've ever conquered. Today, we take the fight to them." Their mission was clear: travel to Alpha Centauri, where the Xerelians were building a forward base to bring in more invasion forces. Destroy it, and capture any intact ships or technology they could. The Defiance launched at night, rising through a hidden mountain exit. As the ship cleared Earth's atmosphere, the crew fell silent, seeing their wounded planet from orbit. Cities lay in ruins. Vast areas were scorched from alien weapons, but light still shone across the globe, proof that humanity endured. "Activating FTL drive," the pilot announced. Stars blurred around them as the ship leaped into faster-than-light travel. 3 days later, they reached Alpha Centauri. The Defiance's stealth systems, modeled after Xerelian technology, allowed them to approach, undetected. 8 enemy ships, Maria reported, studying the sensor readings, and what looks like a construction facility on the 4th planet. Jack studied the tactical display. "We'll hit the smallest ship first. Daniel, prepare your boarding team." The attack caught the Xerelians completely by surprise. The Defiance emerged from stealth, firing weapons directly at a small alien vessel. The ship's shields failed under the assault, and Daniel led his Marines aboard through docking tubes. "Clear," Daniel called over the radio as his team secured the alien bridge. "We have control of the ship." While the captured vessel distracted the other Xerelian ships, the Defiance launched its main attack on the construction facility. Olivia's Sunfire weapons proved devastatingly effective, When activated, they caused the Zarelian workers to collapse in pain, unable to fight back. Within hours, humanity had achieved its first major victory off Earth. The construction base was theirs, along with 3 intact alien ships and mountains of technology. "Send the signal," Jack ordered as they secured their position. Maria transmitted a coded message back to Earth. "Eagle has landed, nest secured. This victory changed everything. With the captured factory, Earth could now build more ships with advanced technology. Within months, a small fleet of 10 vessels was ready, each equipped with Sunfire weapons and improved FTL drives. During this time, Dr. Hayes made another crucial discovery. While analyzing Zarelian communication logs, he found messages from other conquered worlds. "They're still fighting," he told Jack, excitement in his voice. "Some of these species have maintained resistance movements for decades." Using the communication frequencies in the logs, Hayes sent carefully worded messages to the other worlds. After weeks of cautious exchanges, they established contact with the Navarans, a species that had been fighting the Zarelians for 30 years. The Navaran leader, a tall being with gray skin and 4 arms, spoke to them via holographic communication. "We thought we were alone in our resistance," it said in a translated voice. "Your message brings hope we had lost long ago." Jack offered to share the Sunfire technology with the Navarans and any other resistance forces. In return, the Navarans shared their knowledge of Zarelian fleet movements and weaknesses. "Together," Jack told them, "we can free every world they've conquered." An alliance was born. Human ships traveled to nearby star systems, connecting with other subjugated species, and delivering Sunfire weapons. Earth's tactical innovations, combined with technologies from multiple alien cultures, created a fighting force unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The Zarelians responded with fury. Their High Council, never before challenged by lesser species, dispatched their main battle fleet toward Earth. 50 massive warships led by a dreadnought the size of a small moon entered the solar system. "They're trying to make an example of us," Daniel said during the Emergency War Council. "Cut off the head of the rebellion." Jack nodded grimly. "Then we make our stand at Mars. We can't let them reach Earth." Every ship in humanity's growing fleet gathered in Mars orbit. They were joined by vessels from 3 other species, all bearing the new alliance symbol, a broken chain against a field of stars. The Defiance led the defense, its crew now veterans of multiple space battles. As the Zarelian fleet approached, Jack addressed the Allied forces. "They told us to kneel," he said, his voice transmitted to every ship. "Instead, we showed them resistance. They thought us weak. We proved them wrong. Today, we show them the cost of underestimating not just humanity, but every free being in this galaxy." The battle began with a massive exchange of fire. Zarelian energy weapons tore through space, destroying 3 Allied ships in the first minutes. The Alliance returned fire, their weapons less powerful but more precisely targeted. The Defiance weaved through the chaos, leading a strike team toward the Zarelian flagship. Maria had devised a daring plan. Use smaller, faster ships to slip past the dreadnought's outer defenses, then board it with elite teams carrying Sunfire devices. "We need to take out their command," she explained. "Cut off the head of the snake." Daniel led the boarding party, his Marines joined by warriors from 2 other species. They fought their way through the massive ship, facing heavy resistance but advancing steadily toward the command center. In the midst of the battle, Daniel came face to face with Vexthor, the same Zarelian who had delivered the ultimatum to Earth a year before. "You should have submitted," the alien hissed, its mandibles clicking in anger. "Now your species will be erased completely." Daniel raised his weapon. "We don't kneel to tyrants. Not now. Not ever." The battle for the galaxy's freedom had truly begun. The battle between Daniel and Vexthor was fierce. The Zarelian commander towered over the human with 4 arms wielding different weapons. But Daniel had trained for this moment. He moved quickly, dodging the alien's strikes while looking for an opening. "Your species has been a plague on this galaxy for too long," Daniel said as he rolled away from an energy blast. Vexthor's compound eyes glittered with hate. "We bring order." We are superior. It is the natural law that the strong rule the weak. Then, you shouldn't have attacked Earth, Daniel replied. We don't accept that law. With a quick movement, Daniel activated a sunfire device. The weapon emitted its specialized radiation, and Vexthor screamed in pain. The alien's exoskeleton trembled, as its nervous system overloaded. Daniel didn't hesitate. He fired 3 shots into the Xerelian's head, ending the life of the being who had demanded Earth's surrender. Throughout the massive ship, other boarding teams deployed their sunfire devices. The Xerelian crew collapsed, unable to fight through the debilitating pain. Within an hour, the flagship was under Alliance control. Outside, the space battle continued to rage. The Defiance, under Jack's command, led attack runs against the remaining Xerelian vessels. Without orders from their flagship, the alien fleet fell into disarray. All ships, target their engines and weapons, Jack ordered over the fleet-wide channel. Disable, don't destroy. We want prisoners and intact technology. By the time the battle ended, the Alliance had lost 17 ships and thousands of lives. But the Xerelian fleet had been defeated. Half their vessels were captured, the rest destroyed or driven off. When news of the victory reached Earth, celebrations erupted across the planet. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity dared to hope for more than mere survival. 2 years after first contact, the war had spread across the galaxy. The Alliance of Free Species now included 11 former Xerelian slave worlds, with humans and Navarans leading the fight. Each liberated planet added new ships, technology, and fighters to their cause. The Defiance, now upgraded with the best technology from multiple worlds, became the flagship of the Alliance fleet. Jack Warren, promoted to Admiral, coordinated their campaigns from its bridge. Maria served as his right hand, her tactical brilliance respected by all Alliance species. Daniel, now a colonel, led mixed species special forces teams on high-risk missions. His reputation for the impossible made him a legend among both humans and aliens fighting for freedom. Dr. Hayes and Dr. Reyes worked together on Project Prometheus, their largest undertaking yet. After studying captured data, they discovered the Xerelian Empire's greatest weakness. It's called Zenithium, Olivia explained to the Alliance Leadership Council. She displayed a glowing blue mineral on the screen. Their entire technology depends on it. It powers their ships, their weapons, everything, Alan pointed to a star map. And the main source is their homeworld, Xerelia Prime. Our analysis shows they're running low on reserves. That's why they've been expanding so aggressively in recent years. The council chamber, filled with representatives from a dozen species, buzzed with conversation. The Navaran leader, General Kexler, raised one of his 4 hands for silence. If we strike at their homeworld, they will throw everything they have at us, he warned. It could be a trap. Jack nodded. Which is why we need to divide their forces, a 2-pronged attack. The plan they devised was bold. The main Alliance fleet would attack the Xerelian staging area in the Proxima system, drawing their remaining military might into a decisive battle. Meanwhile, a smaller strike force led by Daniel and Maria would infiltrate Xerelia Prime and target their Zenithium processing facility. If we destroy their main processing center, their entire empire will crumble, Jack explained. No Zenithium, no advanced weapons, no FTL travel. 3 weeks later, the plan was put into action. Jack led the Alliance fleet into the Proxima system, engaging the largest gathering of Xerelian military might ever assembled. The battle that followed was the most massive space conflict in galactic history. Using innovative tactics developed by Maria, the Alliance forces kept the numerically superior Xerelians off balance. Ships from a dozen different worlds, each with unique technology and fighting styles, worked together in perfect coordination. Meanwhile, Daniel and Maria led their strike team toward Xerelia Prime in a captured Xerelian stealth vessel. Their team included the best soldiers from 6 different species, each chosen for their special skills. I never thought I'd see their homeworld, Maria said as they approached the planet. It was beautiful from orbit, with purple oceans and emerald continents. Remember, We're not here for revenge, Daniel reminded the team. We're here to end the war. Using falsified access codes, their ship landed at a small facility near the main Zenithium processing center. The team quickly subdued the guards with sunfire devices and made their way toward their target. As they infiltrated deeper into the facility, they made a horrifying discovery. The Xerelians weren't just processing minerals, they were experimenting on captives from conquered worlds. In one laboratory, Daniel found rows of holding cells. Inside were beings from various species, some he recognized, others completely alien to him. Many showed signs of Xerelian experimentation, implanted technology, and surgically altered bodies. "What are they doing to them?" whispered Kriva. A Navaran team member. A weak voice answered from a nearby cell. "Creating the perfect soldier, part organic, part machine. Completely loyal." Daniel approached the cell and was shocked to see a human inside. The man was thin, with scars covering his body, but something about him seemed familiar. "Paul?" Daniel said in disbelief, recognizing his brother who had been reported killed in the early days of the invasion. Paul Wright looked up, his eyes cloudy. "Danny? Is that really you?" The reunion was brief, but emotional. Paul explained that hundreds of humans had been taken for experiments. The Xerelians were particularly interested in human adaptability and creativity, traits they themselves lacked. "We need to get these people out," Daniel told Maria. "All of them." Maria checked her tactical display. "The extraction ships can handle it, but we still need to complete the mission." The team split. Half would free the prisoners and get them to the extraction point. The other half, led by Daniel and Maria, would continue to the Zenithium facility. After fighting through increased security, they reached the massive processing center. Enormous machines converted raw Zenithium ore into the refined material that powered the Xerelian Empire. Olivia had designed special charges that would not only destroy the facility, but would render the surrounding area unusable for processing. For decades, as they placed the explosives, Maria hacked into the facility's communication network. "What are you doing?" Daniel asked. "We need to stay silent." Maria smiled grimly. "I'm making sure everyone knows what the Xerelians have been doing." She uploaded files containing evidence of the experiments, broadcasting them across the planet and to every world in the Xerelian Empire. "Now we run," she said as the upload completed. They fought their way back to the extraction point, where the freed prisoners were already being loaded onto ships. As they lifted off, the charges detonated behind them. The processing facility erupted in blue flames visible from orbit. On their way out of the system, they received a message from Jack. "Proxima secured. Xerelian fleet in retreat. Return home, heroes." The tide of war had finally turned. The destruction of the Zenithium processing facility on Xerelia Prime changed everything. Within days, rebellions erupted on every world under Xerelian control. The evidence of their cruel experiments, broadcast by Maria across their communication networks, turned even loyal subject species against them. The Alliance fleet, now hundreds of ships strong, prepared for what they hoped would be the final battle of the war. Intelligence suggested that the Xerelian High Council had retreated to their heavily fortified bunker on their homeworld. "This is our chance to end this," Admiral Jack Warren told the gathered commanders aboard the Defiance. Representatives from 23 species listened as he outlined the plan. "We hit them with everything we have, no holding back." Colonel Daniel Wright, standing beside his brother Paul, who was still recovering from his captivity, nodded in agreement. "The Xerelians started this war thinking we would surrender without a fight. Let's show them how wrong they were." As the Alliance fleet prepared to jump to Xerelia Prime, urgent news arrived from Earth. Long-range sensors had detected a single Xerelian vessel heading for the solar system at maximum speed. "What's one ship going to do?" asked Maria now, a commander and Jack's chief tactical officer. Dr. Alan Hayes burst into the briefing room, his face pale. "It's not just any ship. Our analysis of its energy signature shows it's carrying a stellar destabilizer, a weapon capable of causing stars to go supernova." Silence fell over the room as the implications became clear. The Xerelians, facing defeat, planned to destroy Earth's sun as a final act of vengeance. How long do we have? Jack asked. The ship will reach our solar system in 48 hours, Alan replied. Jack made an immediate decision. I'll take the Defiance and a small task force back to Earth. The rest of the fleet continues to Zorelia Prime under General Kexelar's command. The Navaran nodded his four-armed salute. We will not fail you, Admiral. As the Defiance and 5 other fast ships raced back toward Earth, the main Alliance fleet jumped to Zorelia Prime. The final assault on the Zorelian homeworld had begun. Daniel and Maria led the ground forces. Thousands of troops from dozens of species fought their way through the defenses surrounding the High Council's bunker. The Zorelians fought with the desperation of those who knew their empire was collapsing. They still don't understand, Daniel said to Maria as they took cover behind a fallen wall. They think we want to rule them the way they ruled others. Maria nodded, checking her weapon. Some cycles are hard to break. Meanwhile, the Defiance arrived in Earth's orbit just as the Zorelian Doomsday ship appeared. The vessel was unlike any they had seen before, a dark spherical craft surrounded by energy fields so intense they distorted light. All ships, defensive positions, Jack ordered. We cannot let that thing near our sun. The battle was brutal and short. The Doomsday ship ignored the Alliance vessels, focusing solely on reaching the sun. Its weapons tore through 2 Alliance ships in seconds. On the Defiance's bridge, Dr. Olivia Reyes studied the enemy vessel's readings. I think I see a weakness, she said, pointing to a fluctuation in its shields. There's a control node that has to remain exposed to channel the stellar destabilizer's energy. If we could hit it directly, our weapons can't penetrate those shields to reach it, Jack replied. Olivia looked him in the eye. A ship could. A direct impact might disrupt the node long enough to prevent the weapon from firing. Jack understood what she was suggesting. That's a suicide mission. I know, she said simply. Before Jack could respond, Olivia grabbed a portable data device and ran from the bridge. Minutes later, alerts showed a shuttle launching from the Defiance's bay. Olivia, return to the ship immediately, Jack ordered. Over the communication channel. Her voice came back calm and determined. You know I can't do that, Jack. Someone has to stop that weapon, and I'm the only one who knows exactly where to hit it. The shuttle, tiny compared to the massive Doomsday ship, accelerated toward the Zorelian vessel. Enemy weapons fired, but somehow Olivia managed to evade them, her shuttle weaving an unpredictable path. When this is over, she said, her voice beginning to break up through static, make sure it was worth it. Build something better than what the Zorelians had. The shuttle collided with the control node in a flash of blinding light. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Doomsday ship's energy fields collapsed, followed by a series of explosions that tore the vessel apart from within. On the Defiance's bridge, Jack stood in silence, watching the debris scatter across space. Olivia Reyes had given her life to save not just humanity, but every living thing in the solar system. On Zorelia Prime, the ground assault reached the High Council's bunker. Daniel, Maria, and a mixed team of special forces broke through the final defenses and entered the central chamber. The High Counselor, larger than any Zorelian they had seen before, waited on a raised platform. Unlike other members of its species, it had 6 arms and a cranial structure that glowed with implanted technology. You think you have won? It said, its voice resonating strangely. Our empire has stood for 10,000 years. It will rise again. Not this time, Daniel replied. Your conquered worlds are free. Your fleets are destroyed. Your zenithium supplies are gone. The High Counselor made a sound that might have been laughter. We came to your world because of a prophecy. For centuries, our seers foretold that a short-lived species would rise to overthrow us. We thought we could prevent it by conquering every world that might threaten us. You created your own downfall, Maria realized. By attacking so many worlds, you created the very alliance that defeated you. With the High Counselor's surrender, the war officially ended. The Zorelian Empire, once spanning hundreds of worlds, collapsed in just over 2 years. As Alliance forces secured Zorelia Prime, many called for the complete destruction of the planet in retribution for all the suffering the Zorelians had caused. The debate raged among the fleet commanders. They destroyed entire civilizations, General Kexelar argued. Justice demands equal measure. Daniel stepped forward. If we destroy them completely, we become what we fought against. They thought domination was the natural order. We need to show there's another way. After much debate, the Alliance made its decision. The Zorellians would surrender all military technology and remain confined to their homeworld under supervision. Their civilization would continue, but their days of conquest were over. 3 years later, Admiral Jack Warren stood on the observation deck of Earth's first colony ship. The massive vessel carried thousands of humans who would establish a new home on a distant world. Dr. Alan Hayes joined him, gazing at the stars through the viewport. Hard to believe, he said. A few years ago, those stars represented threats, now they're opportunities. Jack nodded, thinking of all those who hadn't lived to see this day, especially Olivia. We lost so much to get here, but we gained something too, Alan replied. Not just advanced technology, but alliance with dozens of other civilizations. We're not alone anymore. As the colony ship prepared to depart, Jack raised a glass in a silent toast. To Olivia, to all those who had sacrificed, and to a future where no species would ever again be told to kneel.